Everyone, and welcome back to another live by me, Danny, at the Grapevine Garden. So our guests tonight are Freddie at Freddie's Allotment, Jane at Jane's Growing Garden, and Gem at Gem in the Garden. I'll bring them all on, and we'll then have a little chat and all. So let's pop them all on now. Hello, everyone.
Right.
Let me just turn this off.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another one. Oh God, it literally feels like yesterday, don't it? It's gone so quick.
I know. It's scary.
So I don't know if we are. Let me just check if we are live. Can somebody please tell us if we're all on?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're all on. Good.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'll just say hello quickly to everyone because that's normally what we do. So hi, Annie. I'll try and remember everyone, but it's like hi, Annie. Hi, Ali. Hi, Will. Linda. So the moderators tonight are to please behave, everyone in the chat. Will and Linda's going to be moderating, so they'll be keeping an eye on the comments, and if we can answer, hopefully they can. But as always, we struggle to answer all the questions, but we will do our best. So let me turn my phone on silent. But yeah, so hello everyone. How is everyone?
Hello.
Hi, Freddie. Freddie, this is your first live, right?
Yeah, it is.
You'll be all right. You got Jane and Gemma to look after you. You're doomed with me.
Lad.
You'll be all right. So
Can I just ask?
Go on, Jane.
Why am I just Jane? Look, you've got your whole name. Freddie has. Gemma has. I've just got
you.
Jane.
Change it. You change it. That's up to you.
Not set to a moderator.
I think so.
Well,
That's how it works.
Freddie, that sounds easy, doesn't it? But
Thank you, Ali, for that. I don't know how, but Will wasn't set as a mod. Jane, that's happened to me now because Will was definitely a moderator, and also the Garden of Emma. Emma's on as well, as she's moderating as well. So hi, Emma.
Hi, Emma.
So yeah, for some reason, Will wasn't set as a moderator. I don't know why that is.
Got a mind of its own, honestly. Plain Jane. Yes, I am plain Jane.
Jane, you kicked me off as a moderator last week on your live.
I know. I got fed up.
So how are we all? God, do you know what? I've actually looked at the weather today, and there's actually snow forecast for Wales on next Thursday. So I know I am a little bit worried about the weather. So next Thursday it's supposed to be snowing. Well, maybe there's a 70% chance. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So I don't know if any of you are forecast. All right, Gemma, you okay there?
I'm just looking at my weather. Oh, you can't see that. But I've got no snow. I was when you said a bit of snow, I got a bit excited, and I thought, have I got any? But I haven't. Oh, you can't see my phone, but no.
I think we pay more council tax over here, so it's probably you probably pay the most actually, Gemma.
Yeah, I'm not either. To be fair,
no, I haven't got anything
quite
near me.
It was Tony who told me, Tony O'Neill, and everyone's dreading it. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the snow.
Yeah, love it.
I love the snow. I don't care if it ruins my plans.
For a really long time. Well, I say we haven't had it for a good couple of years. Snow, so it'll be really good if we do. But no, nothing on my weather chart.
Maybe you'll
I've still got sunshine. Yeah, I've got sunshine.
I've got snowflakes. But it might just be frost.
No, I think that's
snow.
That's snow.
All right.
Or does it show the temperatures?
Next Wednesday. Well,
maybe.
No, it says -2, which is what makes me think that's frost flake.
Yeah, that's frost.
Hi, Anita. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, the right people. Ali. Hi, Denise. Hi, Steve. Hi, Locke.
That wasn't nice,
hi, Mel.
Steve.
Steve's never going to get a nice response. Well, let's just start off. Let's start because this is Freddie's first live, and I'm sure once he gets into the swing of them, you know what it's like, Jane, and Gemma's already started. It becomes addictive, doesn't it? Like you do really enjoy them.
Yeah,
and
it's good fun,
they are actually a bit of fun. So Freddie, let's talk about your shed. Like we do love your shed. I've got a picture here though, but for some reason the window's not on it. So you didn't send me one with the window in, but
Look
this
at
is
that.
that has got the window in.
Oh,
it has got the window in. It's brand new, so it's brand new, which means it's clean.
So was this a kit? Was this a kit, or did your dad build it from scratch?
We built it from scratch.
Wow.
There's a slight design feature flaw.
Go on.
If I may point it out. How do you get in and out?
Well, there's a door, Jean, on the other side.
You didn't show the door. You didn't show the door. I imagine you going through the window.
Freddie's got a pretty good
brilliant.
setup there, though. Haven't you, Freddie? You got like a nice little kitchen, and
Yeah.
he's forever. I bet you've got a cup of tea there right now. Freddie, show us your mug.
Yeah. Don't know where it is.
I've got a cup of tea.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off then. So Freddie, we met on Malvern, me and Jane and you did, didn't we? So we all went to Malvern and you had a good time there as well. Oh God, look at Jane there. God love her.
Listen, that was a good day.
That was a good day. Look how young Freddie looks. Within 1 year, look how different Freddie is now.
Yeah, I know.
He's got a fringe now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. You're doing all right. So let's give Freddie a little extra plug. I hope this is the right one. There's Freddie's allotment. So if you aren't already subscribed, go over and give him a subscribe and push his channel because he's like, well, you're doing really well though, aren't you, Freddie?
Yeah, I'm doing
well.
yeah.
So,
I'm going up so many per day.
You're doing all right. And we'll do Gemma now as well. There's Gemma. Oh my God, this is awkward because I don't know if I
Crikey, Gemma.
I know. Gemma is
nearly
rocking as well.
3,000. My goodness. Wow.
Jane, I feel really bad because I culled your picture off like that.
And that's why my stats don't go up.
It was for a picture of Mike. It was for a picture of Mike with a carrot.
He doesn't know I've sent that one.
So so if you want to subscribe to Jane's channel,
you might see one of them.
You might see one of them on there.
Yeah.
So how are we all getting on with our gardens now? Jane, is your garlic in yet? Come on. Jane?
No.
It's going in this week,
it's
isn't it?
Still not. It is going. It was going to go in today, but it turned a bit cloudy. I actually went to the allotment.
Weather garden.
And I know. I went to the allotment, and I thought, by the time I was into the chickens and everything, I just thought, I'll do it tomorrow, and I need to do it tomorrow because even if I just do it in the poly, because we've got -2 tomorrow night, and I think it's going to be -5 higher north.
Wow.
So I mean, we're right. I'm probably the furthest north of us at the moment. I mean, I'm only in the Midlands, but -2. So I've got to dig my dahlias up. I know Will's done his. You did a video, Will, about digging your dahlias up. So I need to get them either dug up or completely mulched over. So, but it's gonna.
Thanks, Jane. I also did a video on digging up dahlias this week.
I didn't watch that.
I know. I see that. You watch Will's. You watch Will's. Clearly.
But it is. It's one of those things that you sort of feel like you'll be okay. And then last year, I lost my dahlias, and I thought, how stupid it would have taken not long at all to do it.
Jane, we can lose those dahlias. They're the Farmer Greasy ones we had, didn't they?
They've been so good.
So good. But they are expensive though. But I'm going to rectify this because Freddie did say they were expensive on his video. But I'm going to say, I think, I can't say that they're not expensive because they are expensive. But if I would have paid for them, which I didn't, so I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay for them. But if I didn't
pay for mine.
No, but if I did, I would have been really happy with them this year. I did have a few that come through that would have been a little bit iffy when I first had them through, but that might be my issue. I might have left them in the box a little bit because I didn't really think about that. But overall, the ones I had I was so happy with them, really, really happy. And I've now dug up mine. If you want to go and watch that first, watch mine before Will's.
Well, Will's actually just pointed out in the chat that he didn't dig his up. He mulched them. So
he did mulch them.
I do need to mulch them. But yeah.
He did.
But they have been really good quality. And they always have some sort of discount code, especially this time of year. 20% off usually, that sort of thing. Sounds like we're really plugging them now, but
I know.
I think you've got to stand up when something's good, because Danny, we get so many things offered, and some of the stuff
if I get
is not very good.
You see that, Jane?
Anymore. What's
Jane,
that?
have you seen that pop the garlic bulbs in the fridge until plant them, get them thinking it's below 5 degrees.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I don't know what
Thank you,
Michael think
Steve.
of that because it's
Green
quite a lot.
Fingers had
Garlic.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. There he is. I'll give him a little. There's Digwell Green Fingers.
But then, isn't that just going to be the same if I plant them out and it gets to -5?
But Steve knows you, Jane, and he knows they're going to be
so
there
I
till
won't
January.
plant them out. I know.
Just put them in the freezer, Jane.
I'll forget them.
So the veg plot thickens, I've said. Now, the last time the veg plot thickens, put a comment out, that was when I got in trouble on YouTube by talking about my plot size. But Farmer Gracie bulbs arrived today. Now I'm thinking I should have added daily. Oh, you definitely should have added dailies. They were a show this year, weren't they, Jane?
They were absolutely gorgeous.
They
really were. And I don't know if you did this, Danny, but they sent me. They selected the dahlias for me. I said a couple of colours that I was interested in, and because they selected it, and I think it's the same if you send for a collection of anything. The colours were they're not necessarily what I would have chosen, but they went together beautifully. So it's like trusting someone else to
I didn't do that. I felt like I was Mariah Carey when I sent the order. I think I was a bit more direct than you because you were
very specific.
You was classic Jane and said, "Oh, please, can you send a few?" I was like, I literally said, "This is the list." They did ask me for what list I want, and I thought, you know what? I'll send off a pile and then they can pick. And then they sent a lot. So I was that's why you've seen my garden this year. I will put that down to a lot of it was Farmer Gracie.
It was stunning though. I
was really lucky this year.
Which one's that? I want that one. I want that one.
It actually looked like I could garden. That was the thing. That was the deceitful thing.
Yeah.
It really, honestly, my garden looked like I knew what I was doing as well.
If I'm going to be honest, I've never grown dahlia bulbs before.
No, I've never been. It was Will that got me on to say, "Oh, I put more flowers in then as well." And that's pretty much what I did. And it's frowned upon on my plot, like on my site. If you put a few flowers in, that's okay. You could put a few marigolds in because they're good for the pests. But once I started putting flower beds in, I remember a plot holder coming over and saying, "What's that bed there?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's bulbs and what for?" I said, "Oh, they're flowers." And he was like, "Well, what a waste of growing space. That could be a row of cabbages." So they
got to be careful.
Yeah, they were, but I'm going bigger and better this year with them. So, next year. So I got loads to do. I was over there today in the pitch black dark with my lights on in the shed. I'm plugging this now. And I was planting, what was I planting? Shallots. I planted shots. If you can see, there's a new bed down here in the bottom now, like a tiny little small one, but so I built 2 new beds, so I did do that, and I was in the dark, and I thought, well, this is, what am I doing now? But I needed to get that bit done, so it's done. The jobs are done. For some reason you've all changed.
You've moved everyone round.
Yeah.
We're sneaking around behind your back.
I don't know how I did that then.
I'm really happy. With my flowers on my plot, I ain't really got enough space to put any flowers. If you don't know, my plot's 15 foot by 60 foot. It's not that big. It's very narrow. And I ain't really got enough space to put flowers.
Yeah.
High up. Go on. High up. Go on. Hang in baskets. Get them in. It's not that they look nice, but they do so many other good things as well. And I've said before, I see it as a good harvest. As far as money is concerned, the amount you would pay for
what I do, Freddie, is I just put them in within everything else. I don't really have dedicated beds. Mine are more like I might just put one in one bed and like 2, just wherever I've got a little bit of space. So you always try something like that, because that's what I do. Because I have really good space, but there is ways around it.
I think the problem we got is that all gardeners do this. They'll see all their beds in winter and autumn, and they'll think, "Oh, there's loads of space." And then it's the garlic syndrome, isn't it? You fill up those beds, and then you end up with 2. Gemma, you've done it, haven't you? And I've done it. You fill up that bed and think, "Oh yeah, I got another bed there. I got extra garlic. I'll put some more in." And then just in spring, then you end up literally with the stress I have over trying to fit everything into the beds, and then I get a little bit annoyed about it. I really get annoyed. I think, God, and I've decided it's like the Hunger Games on my plot. I've decided who's being culled today and who's going in. But the one thing that always suffers on mine, and I'm gonna try and change this year, is the sunflowers. The sunflowers always I plant them. I sow them, I plant them, and then they're there. And I let them. Because they're the one thing that I always don't prioritize. And it was shamelessly that this picture was next door's plot. Because
no!
Well, I gave them the sunflowers, and they grew them for me. I'm going. So I was thinking of this, and I promised I'm not going to do a grow long. I've said this, Jane, and I, but I think we should do the tallest sunflower next year. And I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I think someone should.
Nick
I'm going
used
to
to always do it.
Nick used to always
do it. He always did the tallest, the widest, and
the biggest head,
unusual. The biggest head and the most unusual. Yeah, but he hasn't done it the last couple of years, but I'm hoping he might come back in and do.
I know. I want one of his little mugs, because he always gives out a mug, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I think someone. Freddie, you can do that.
I will. Yes.
I did love that.
What I want to do, without sounding mean, I want to block off the plot next to me, because they don't come down enough. They don't. Really take care
you're shaming your plot neighbours now.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
I just want to block it off and make it a nice plot. But yeah.
You want like a barrier?
Yeah.
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 I have got some big news. I've got really big news, but I'm not going to share it until I know if I'm absolutely doing it.
Oh, Freddie.
Go on, Freddie. Just tell us. Go. Peer pressure.
No.
Don't you keep it to yourself, Freddie.
Jane, I'm actually shocked you've just said that, because whenever I've said to you, I've got a secret, Jane will pester me. Pester me.
You can't tell me something. You can't do that.
And sometimes I will text Jane just to boost her anxiety a little bit and go, I've got a secret, and then I'll go offline for 4 hours.
It goes offline. I know.
Yeah.
You just had a couple of things. I don't know if you've missed them there. You've just had Ali's was 14'8" last year.
There's something going on there with Ali and Robin, because I think there's something in their soil, honestly. Oh, thank you so much from Plot to Plate. You've said $9.99 again. That's such a random number, but I thank you so much for sending that. That'll really support me, because I'm going through compost like no tomorrow at the moment. So thanks so much for sending that.
Yeah, me too.
Freddie,
like 25 bags. Nearly gone through them.
Can I just say, I've got no compost, hence the garlic thing. And so if anyone wants to send anything,
Jane? Every live now, Jane gets a begging bowl out on this channel.
I do, because it always amazes me, Dan. Not amazes me. You deserve it thoroughly.
Right.
You always get people sending you money. Do you get that, Gemma? Does anyone send you any money? Freddie, does anyone send you money?
You know this is my life. I don't. This is a disclosure. I don't. I just think that some people feel the same passion as me when I'm on the plot sometimes, and then I get too overly excited. I think that's what happens sometimes when I film. I get really excited about something, and I think sometimes some people to watch that and they get excited for me to do that as well. And then, but I will say though, and this is a little thing that I mentioned on my plot.
Feel a bit sorry for you.
Maybe
that's what it is.
Maybe it is that. But I will always say though, I generally anything that's sent to me, I never put it in my pocket.
I know.
I spend it straight back on the plot. So within a week or so, that money has been that money that's been sent now. Well, I'm already planning in my head to go and get some more compost for that, and I'll finish that one bed off. Because I've got a new big bed going there, and I don't know how I'm going to fill it. I really don't, because I don't want to do Google. Oh, Locke, thanks so much. Locke just sent me $10 as well.
Locke,
thanks, Locke.
Get yourself over to my channel.
And he wrote,
Gemma's and Freddie's.
He actually commented on it and said, "Ha ha, Jane."
Oh, Locke.
Yeah, see, that's you trying to shame me there. It's like I never ask anyone to send me money at all, because I don't generally do it for that. But I am always generally, truly.
I know, and it's deserved. It is. I'm being nice.
Always shocked. I'm always shocked every single time someone sends something. I'm always really shocked, and I think
we wouldn't know.
No, I do definitely so. Oh, look at Tony O'Neill. He's just sent £20.
Oh, come on, Tony. Adding insult to injury. Mind you, Tony has won the lottery recently, so twice.
I feel like I'm on Chill Danny in Need now. This is not Children in Need. I feel like people are sending me in donation.
Oh, no, dear. But thank you, Tony.
Thank you so much, Tony. Don't send Jane any because she's got a bigger plot than me and a really rich husband. She has.
I have and I haven't. Dear me. I've got no compost.
He works in the circus, he does.
That's where he met me.
That's how you met Jane. He's Carrot Man.
Yeah. The one with the unusual hand. Yeah.
Jane, let's talk about your shed. Come on, because I feel like this is a good time really to talk about how beautiful yours. You've done well with that shed this year.
We have loved it. That's been.
Let me look at it now. It's beautiful.
That's the before. That is the before picture. That's what we inherited. You look at the bricks keeping the roof on there.
Oh, and look at it now.
And that's it now. Yeah. It's
Jane,
been...
you have done well with that. And do you know what, Jane? I will say I was horrified when you said that you left these on the plot. However, I am glad that you actually used them.
It was shocking. I know. And the thing was, we took them up to the allotment just because when we got the allotment, because we didn't have any room in our house to store them. So we just put them down. And you know what it's like? The things just start to grow round them, the grass grew around. But we knew
they would cost hundreds to buy now, hundreds to buy.
And they were just picked up outside someone's house. They were about to put them in the skip, and there were 3.
Probably one of Gemma's relatives.
Oh, stop it.
Gemma's regal descendants. Jane, can I ask you about this though? Like, what's this hole here?
Well, Danny, it's interesting, isn't it? That hole, it's just like a permanent reminder of a broken promise. That's what that is. That's all that is. Danny actually promised. We saw the hole there, and that's because it had been left outside, so it was our fault. And he said, I can do that for you. Send me the measurements. I sent you the measurements. And that was February. Oh. But I know that what the post is like near you, Danny. I think, they're doing a round the world trip, maybe, together.
But the fact that I've shamelessly brought that now, I'm going to make sure that that's sorted. Because I feel like winter's coming and...
I'll be dithering in my little corner.
Look how organised Jane is here.
That is so cool.
That is so organised. It's like something at a store, isn't it?
Wow.
But you know what it's like? You have loads of little bits of plastic things and you don't necessarily know what they are.
Yeah.
And just to be able to put them somewhere, it's been lovely. And it has made things just easier to do. I've got to say, that was taken before I sorted all the tools out properly. So, for example, I've got 3 saws on there. I think only one of them is sharp. But, you'll know once you've got them all sorted, you're just not spending all your time looking for things because
if you put them in the right place.
That's the key. Yes, that's the key. So
the one thing that I want to change next year is I keep saying and James, I always admire Jane for this, is that she's got this area where she sits and she always talks about things and she shows her harvest, and I always think every allotment should have one of those areas, and we use so much space. Jane has got the luxury of so much space, haven't you, Jane, that you could have those areas. I'm granted there's apples trying to kill her at all times up above her, but that's such a lovely area to have though, isn't it?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it is. It's lovely, and we've mentioned it before, but I think even if it's just a chair.
I'm just going to do that. We talked about it last week, but I haven't got anywhere. So I haven't got anything. So that's something I'm going to do. Like I think it was Jane that said, just put a couple of paving slabs down and put a chair down. You don't need anything. So that's what I'm going to do. But
if you're really struggling, just fold up chairs.
Yeah.
So you can get out just, it is lovely. And then if someone drops by, you've got somewhere to sit. It's really nice to do. So
Will have said, Jane, you'll be waiting till next winter for that glass.
I know, Will. I know if I'm here and the pneumonia hasn't set in.
Jane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I will send it, honestly. I honestly will send it. It's you. I cut it, but the worst thing is I've even got clips of me doing it to make it. But I just kept forgetting, Jane. You know what I'm like. I keep forgetting. I get so many things in my head, and yeah, I don't know. It will be sorted. I promise. I promise.
Thank you.
So I just want to. So the one thing that I want to talk about today is that, like, we've talked about the garlic going in, and we've talked about things that will, like, you've planned on for next year and stuff. But have any of you thought about? I know Freddie's talked about putting the solar in your plot and things now, because I know, Freddie, you definitely want a solar panel set up on yours, don't you? And I do think it's like it's a gamble because you're worried that people might come in and take it. But
where I live, it's it's hidden. I'm just on the edge of a busy town, but the only sort of criminal have is teenage boys just walking around in the night, and that's about it. We don't have any break-ins. My whole shed, that's completely unlocked, and half the time I leave my shed unlocked.
Yeah,
probably something I shouldn't be saying about how I leave my shed unlocked.
Tell everyone on a live, Freddie. No.
And this is the address.
This is the time, though, where I take out all my expensive tools and everything, and I just take it all out the sheds, because I think if you know it's going to hurt you or upset you, then take it home. It's not, and you're not going to need all those things now, are you? Do you know what I mean? And once you've pruned everything down and you've pulled all your beds, you don't need those things there. And I think they're not going to break in and take things like, I'd hope not anyway, like a hoe. And I mean, there's nothing worse than there's nothing worse than going to your shed and find the things missing. Do you know what I mean? But I'm the same. I take the locks off now, because I either think if you put the lock on, it's showing that you think that people, it's that issue, isn't it? Like, should you leave the lock on to stop people from looking? But then if you do put the lock on, then it's going to make it look like they're going to anyway. So I always try and take mine out now. But the solar thing, my way around it is that I think if anyone was going to start doing solar now, I'd advise them to invest a little bit more in one of those power bank things, and still have the solar panel on the top. And then the wire that comes down, you can plug it into that, and every time you go to the plot, it'll charge. The issue is then that you're not charging it when you're not there. But I think then it's the main belt that might go missing or whatever. But fingers crossed, Freddie, when you have yours, that you'll have a good
well, my shed is really small, but one thing I do want, and I'm really jealous of with Jane and Danny, is a log burner. Just really small one like you've got.
So nice. It's so nice. But Freddie, it's I think because I was inspired by Danny's, we were always just going to get like a wood burner.
It wasn't Will, Jane. It wasn't Will that.
I bet Will gets one when he does his new shed. I bet it'll be really nice.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's called a tent stove, and I've never heard of it before. And you can literally take the funnel off. Take the funnel off, and you can carry it outside, so you could have it for barbecues or whatever outside. It's really nice. It's
so handy. I've got mine there now. And
look at those boots.
Look at those boots. They're worked boots. Those are.
Yeah.
No, I just rubbed some dirt on it. No, I did. Yeah. I actually would garden that day. I did put the axe there though for effect though. I hadn't cut any wood that day. Yeah.
But it's it's well worth getting, Freddie. Really lovely to have.
The thing is that you've got.
Well, I don't know. With the allotment moment, I don't know if she's going to let me, but I'm pretty sure she will. So.
They throw everything at Freddie at their allotment. But yeah, I think it was the best thing with a Jane. Nothing like nice and putting that log burner on and then just tottering on your garden, and then when you come back in, your coat's nice and dry. You've got a kettle full of hot water.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they are a luxury, and they, Jane, because they're not too expensive. I don't think. I think they're only about £100 pounds, aren't they?
Decently priced. Yeah, I've got one in my Amazon basket.
Yeah. It's well worth it.
They are definitely worth it. I will say, I will always have one now. And it's funny because there's a little bit of a joke on our site that you always know when the committee are on site because their log burners are going because they've now got them now as well, and you can kind of see. But it's such a luxury, and it's nice just to go around and be really sociable with other plot holders and not being I mean, it does sound really weird if you say, "Oh, do you want to come around my shed?" And there's like 4 men in a shed with just having a cup of tea. But when they put a log burner in,
moonshine on our allotment, moonshine.
That's Alan, that is, Jane. That's Alan.
It is. Yeah. Someone's just mentioned.
Go on.
Sorry. Someone's just said, it's a shame my allotment doesn't allow structures like sheds, greenhouses, and polytunnels. And I think that's something that you've got to be wary of. Like you were saying, Freddie, it's, you've got to work out what the rules are first, because some are
definitely
structures you can have one structure,
A bit of a background of my whole allotment site is that it used to be 4 acres of land, and the council was renting it off this guy, and they didn't allow any structures, any greenhouses, any sheds, any polytunnels, and a lot of people didn't have sheds, and they didn't have the allotment because they had nowhere to go when it rained. April, mostly April showers. So then, and they didn't pay their rent for 20 years. Wow. So what they've done, they put the whole 4 acres up for 50 grand, and of course no one's bought that. So they split it up into 4 different sections, 12 grand each. Of course, someone's bought that, and then they split them up into different plots, which is really nice. And we're having sheds, greenhouses. No one has a polytunnel because we do like a fire, and we don't want any holes in it. But if I could, I definitely would.
Do you know what?
Let's not mention holes in polytunnels.
Oh my goodness! I was just gonna say because JB's on here and
hi JB.
JB, you know what is going on? Tell us.
Poor JB. Honestly, I don't know if it was that fox. I think the fox got it wrong. I don't know if it was a badger. I'm on the fence with both of them, but horrific. My heart sunk because I honestly thought
scratch marks. They're like really like far. I don't know.
It was like a horror film.
Jane? It was. The fox must have really wide. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's just but I think if it was a badger, it would have gone through because badgers are really powerful.
They're really
Who mentioned? Did anyone mention?
I don't know.
But have you ever seen a badger on your plot, JB? I saw the fox.
Yeah,
they are cute, aren't they?
But they always look shifty foxes, don't they? But they are.
Do you think that's as sly as a fox?
But I do agree, though, and I agree with the fact that it might have been the chicken manure pellets and bloodfish and bones. Another one as well. People tend to put those things. People tend to put those things in the beds and stuff, and they forget. Then they go, "Oh, what's been digging on there and stuff?" But I learned that as well. Not so much about having a hole in the polytunnel, but I was told a long time ago, don't do it, especially in winter, because they're so hungry that they're looking for things and they smell it. And I remember when Malcolm put his chickens in the polytunnel, I said, like Malcolm, just be mindful. But he doesn't have any problem with us, with foxes as much. And we don't, to be fair. I don't think we do. I've never seen one. I'd like to see one. I'd actually like to see one on the camera, to be fair, on the plot camera, but I never see those type of things. We get cats and that's about it. And hedgehogs.
I'm a night with fox because one of the plots that's been sold behind the allotment, behind that hedge, that's been completely left. So that's like 10-foot tall brambles and they all hide in there. And if you've seen my other video, a fat old fox came from my greenhouse direction and it was well fed and it was big.
I do think though, and I think that they were here first before us on those sites and stuff. And I'm sure those, like I do live in it's quite urban, but there is a lot of rural land and a lot of mountains behind. So I do think that we need to be mindful that you can't stop those things all the time. But chicken manure pellets, and I never feed the polytunnel. That's why I use compost in this year because I thought, God.
You did say that to me, Danny, because
remember when Gemma, funny enough, was doing, I said, "Oh, Gem, be careful if you don't put bloodfish and bone in or whatever, because it gets hot in the summer, in the sun, it just amplifies that smell as well." Yeah. So poor JB, like I would be devastated, but I'm sure he's going to get it sorted and
you'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You'll be
but
fine.
We had our chickens. I was telling you, Danny, about the lockdown, the flockdown last year. We had all our chickens in the polytunnel. So it was their bedding, their food. We didn't even have their automatic door openers. We just made sure that the doors were thoroughly blocked each night, so nothing could dig in and dig under. But
I think with those boxes, I think, God, they could.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't do it again. But
the only thing they were messy, weren't they, Jane? They were messy,
yeah.
They? God, they turned out into a dust bath.
They did. And cleaning the inside this year, it was just, you just get it clean and then it dry and you think, go do it again. So yeah, they can stay where they are this time.
They'll be all right. Chickens actually like the cold anyway, so people always over worry chickens. They're really, they're tough birds, they are. Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to show you something as well that I've actually, let me find it first. No, it's not Mike with the carrot hands. So I want to touch on this. I've had a few messages the last week or two, and a few in the comments as well that we missed. And it was, and I'm only bringing this up, Gemma, because I've got a picture of yours and all this. Is the green polytunnels, and I know it's that time now. Like you had some devastation with yours, didn't you, Gem, when you first got there? And
yeah, that was the weather. That was I can't remember which storm it was. One of the storms at the beginning of the year. I can't remember which one it was called. But it did really well the whole winter. And then like that last storm just took it. And it was literally like the actual frame, everything was down. The frame, the actual cover didn't rip, which was unbelievable, but the actual frame was just like in pieces. I
think it's because it just keeps swinging it back and forth and eventually something gives. But like I got nothing against those, but they always give me, the reason I never had one is because it gives me so much anxiety. Like I get anxious about my greenhouse. That's why it's strapped down all year round. But I get so anxious about those polytunnels for everyone else. And I mean, I remember on the last, a couple of videos ago, I walked around and I showed that a new plot holder had put a big polytunnel, one of those green ones, and so I said, I went over to him and said, just be mindful at this site. It's really, really windy in the winter, and they just said, yeah, it'll be fine and stuff. I said, they just use the tent, and I think the main person to blame for those polytunnels is the people who supply them, because I feel that they set people up, gardeners up to fail with them as well, because they send them a couple of drawstrings and some tent pegs. Because you had that, did you, Jen, when you first had it?
We did actually. We really secured ours quite well, like as well as you can. But I think one of the main problems with ours is that it had a pointed roof. So like the top was only like, do you see what I mean? It wasn't like a curve. It was like a point, and I think the bit that just, once that went, it just, the whole lot came down. I think that's what it was. I think they do, I can't remember what we got with it, but it wasn't, it was like a few, like you say, like pegs and, that sort of thing. You can do extra, like we did, but it just wasn't enough to keep that, that from coming down. Yeah.
And that's the thing that, I think that's where they set them up, is that people, especially, newer gardeners, will get one, and then all of a sudden they'll think it's all set up, and it's not. And I think they are, they are little tents in there sometimes, and I just think, dig them in, dig everything, and it's an anxiety.
What was it? Will and plot number 9, they had one of them really flimsy greenhouses, didn't they?
Yeah. Now, funny enough, Will bought the same greenhouse, and Nanu and Grinch, I messaged them and said, so they bought the straps. I sent them a link for the straps, and I said, just be careful, because her site's really, really windy. And my heart absolutely broke through when that greenhouse went down, because I knew how much it meant to them as well, that because they built that and they were trying their hardest to just grow and stuff. And that's how they ended up having first tunnels. They had a polytunnel for in, and God bless them. Now they're really happy and stuff. But
they've got a new plot now.
Yeah, now they've got a new plot as well. So that's the other thing that happens this time of year now, is that you get so much temptation when a new plot comes up near you and stuff, that you think, should I take on an extra plot? And I had to think sometimes, if yours is already done, take on another one. But if it's not, then just be mindful that it's double the amount of work.
I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like for me, I was talking to someone at my site this week actually, and there's a few new few new people taking on some plots, and a couple of people have got 2 plots down there, and we were sort of discussing it, and I just said, for me, 1 is enough. I feel like that's like so much work for me to fit in. I don't know how anyone has 2. I feel like, I mean, I know you have, Danny, but I just think, how? How have you got 2?
I've talked about this many times with you lot as well about the Grapevine Garden, and I go down there all the time, and and I'm tending it all the time. But if a plot came up next to the Fig and Olive, I would give up the Grapevine Garden, which shocks so many people when I say it, because I love my plots, but I still have that idea that it's just land, and because you know what I'm like, I'll whiz through it all, I'll get it all done and stuff like that. That I don't worry about all the work I've already done. I get excited about the work I'm going to do. So anything that I put on my beds or anything in my plot, I know I could just lift and move to somewhere else. So I would move it. And the reason is the Fig and Olive it's just because it's quieter and I can film better. And it's just got a nice cozy feel because it's in the corner. Yeah. But I don't know how people cope with, and there's some plots, I know YouTubers who've got loads and loads of plots, like Tony and
Tony, yeah,
our allotment plots as well. Yeah, they've got loads, and I think, God, you must. I live there now, but yeah, we've got some questions coming in, so I'll skip to one of those now because we're missing them otherwise. So this one says biggest growing fail and biggest success of 2023. We'll start with Jane. Go on, Jane.
Yeah. Well, I would say the biggest growing fail for us, and only because they're usually foolproof, has been our beans. Absolutely terrible this year. I've said before, very wet. We interplanted them with kohlrabi and swede. Blaming you for this, Danny. Which meant that early on, the sales just had a fantastic time down in the undergrowth. We had the canes going up like that, and just, they just pop out, climb up the cane and eat the beans. So yeah, you sort of think that you can't go wrong with beans. And it was a real eye-opener this year to think that we got a few. We did get there's my gigantes and others that I don't, unknown, just happen to have them here. But yeah, I'm really going to take care of them now, because they're the sort of thing you think you can just leave on their own.
Jane, was it last year that you grew a neff, and was it Charlotte or Anna then cooked them?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. The poor girls suffer if we have a glut of anything. There's a please, squash. It's usually squash, but yeah, that's fail.
Yeah. What about you, Freddie?
I say my fail, and it's completely up to me, is the broccoli, because I let it go to seed, because I was just so busy during the summer with everything else, with the filming and actually gardening, and completely left it. And I tucked away my broccoli, so I couldn't really it weren't down my main path, so I couldn't really see it, and it just went to the flower. But the bees loved it, so it's not a total loss.
Yeah,
they're beautiful, and that's the thing. Sometimes we rip things out, and we forget that if we don't need that space, leave it in, because someone else will benefit of, like, the pests. Not pests, but I mean bees and all. But I've seen quite a few with the broccoli and stuff, and it's mainly because we don't plant it properly. Because I remember you did that, didn't you, Gemma, where you planted brassicas, and I said, make sure they're really firm in. Yeah. Because once they start rocking, they panic, and then they just go to seed, because they naturally then want to just create a new plant. So I think a lot of people with brassicas, they forget that really push those. I like you got to start. I remember there's an old guy on our plot, and he used to say that he used to send over his relatives to play cricket on the plot. And it's just, I think it's just a funny little tale that he used to make sure the kids come over and play cricket on the plot, and it was really stamped down all the soil. Yeah. And then he would plant his brassicas in there. And I think that's what a lot of people think, that we got to have this light, fluffy soil all the time and nice compost on the top. And sometimes even Charles Dowding steps on his beds, and we forget that sometimes, don't we?
Yeah. You can though, but can't you?
Yeah. I think as gardeners, because gardeners naturally, I think, are quite caring people, I think we forget that sometimes you've got to be a little bit cruel to them to make them be a bit tougher in the garden, because
I think we all know that I'm like the roughest person.
Gemma gives me anxiety. If anyone hasn't seen the video, I wish I had a clip of it of Gemma when she had this tray of she had a tray of beans, and I'm not joking you. I remember sat there with my spaghetti bolognese, and I put my food down. She ripped at those, honestly. She was ripping them out of the tray, and you could hear the crunching of the roots.
As they screamed.
And I was thinking, and I mean, they don't.
They worked though. I bet they worked.
The worst thing about it was, I said to Gemma, beans don't like having their roots disturbed that much. And she had a beautiful crop of beans. It told me sometimes that rules.
I am so bad. I'm just not very dainty. I'm quite heavy-handed, so it's hard for me to be gentle.
Yeah. But Freddie, I said this about cauliflower leaves last week, but broccoli leaves. Don't think because the head's gone. You can't. You've got to throw the plant. Eat the leaves. Fine, absolutely fine. It's just brassicas.
I've heard that about sprout leaves as well. They're great.
Yeah. They're all brassicas. They're fine. Yeah.
So if the moderators can do me a favor, if they do see a question, can they repeat it for me and put a question in the front? Because if we do miss it, then at least we can try and answer it. So I found one now anyway off. Thank you, Linda. She's a moderator. Has anyone grown fava beans, and can you eat the beans before they seed? I bought some by mistake instead of broad beans. I thought they were the same thing.
I thought they were the same.
So I think
it's just.
I think fava beans are just the American. Fava beans are just the American version. They're the American name for broad beans. That's what I understand. So if you've got them, Linda, you probably just bought some that have just put fava beans on them.
Oh, bye, JB.
Oh, so Ali have said.
Yeah.
Linda, correct me if I'm wrong. They are not the same, only named differently. They are not the same.
The same.
I thought they were the same. So she've said the same.
They are the same.
Now,
I've just gave it a Google. They say they are the same. No, they're not the same, but they grow the same.
All right.
I've always been told, that they're the same.
The same as field beans.
Now, I've grown field beans, but I don't know.
Field beans are like a slimmer version.
Yeah,
I've got Warburton greenhouse ready to go out to improve one of my beds, which has really bad soil. Yeah.
Best thing to do now as well. So, Cheryl, hi Cheryl. Has anyone dealt with boric deficiency in Swedes? Does it work growing in heavy manured ground?
Ooh, Danny, you'll know all about the Swedes.
No,
my Swedes were like that big.
We need a test on this now. Will Green Fingers or Tony to tell us about boric? I haven't at all. If Mike was on now, he'd be telling you to put a bicycle in the ground.
Yeah.
And he'll sort out your Swedes.
Bit of rust. That'd be
bit of rust.
No, mine didn't bulk up at all. But again, I put that down to the snail damage earlier on.
So the thing about the bulking as well is that a lot of people were sending me pictures for the and one of the reasons is if you get a leggy Swede seedling, that's what happens. Once you let it go leggy and you try and plant it, think, it'll be okay. Is the root it bulks up as like a big massive root. So mainly if you had a bit of a leggy Swede seedling, I've always found
be a leggy.
It becomes more like a carrot sort of elongated.
Yeah.
I've eaten them and they're always all fine, but they don't tend to swell up.
So it's early on then. You've got to look at
it's really, really early on. And people say like, most things they'll forgive you and all. And even if you put a brassica in that's a bit leggy, sometimes, it'll forgive you. But with Swede, I've always found you've got to plant them and you've got to really look after them so that they don't go too leggy. Otherwise you end up with leggy Swedes. Nothing worse than a leggy Swede, Jane.
Oh no,
nothing
can't
worse
be doing with
all.
them.
The questions are coming in now, so hang on, that's not a question, that's Tony O'Neill. Hold on. That's right, Tony. He said, grow brassicas in bright light and keep them cold. Bit like a gremlin.
There's a lovely, lovely comment for you here, Danny, from Dan Laura Millwood. It's right at the bottom of the chat. It's just going. Oh, it's gone.
Hold on, let's go there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, here it is. Hi to you all, Danny. I messaged you on Instagram earlier this week. You've inspired me to start a veg garden. What are your tips for beginner preparing raised beds ready to plant in 2024?
I remember this, and I actually replied back to it straight away. But so thank you so much for commenting and watching the live as well. That's really sweet of you. So my tips for beginner preparing raised beds would be, I wouldn't be thinking about putting too much rich in this straight away. Don't think, we'll throw loads of manure in, because that could be too rich really for filling beds up. So you can put some in, but putting compost and using soil as well. So soil's one of the best things I find to hold moisture later on. Compost isn't actually one of the best things. It's okay for mulching and for feeding and for growing in, but the best thing I find for holding moisture is like soil and
proper soil. Yeah.
And it just hold, that there's a reason why we originally plant starting by using soil, and that's the main reason why we use it. But I would say try and fill it as much as soil, put a layer of compost on the top of manure, rotten manure, and then cardboard them over, and then just leave them, and they will always settle down. And don't think you have to spend on raised beds and things. Like I've only been doing it more now because of over time, and you do tend to, you start off with something and then you'll build on it with money and stuff as well. So don't think you have to just spend, because you really don't. And I think that's the main thing. Like people just use pallets sometimes, and that's okay, all the pallet collars and stuff. But I wouldn't be overly thinking about, unless you've got the funds there that you want to have raised beds and stuff. But don't make them too chunky either, because you don't really need them as like some of my raised beds are about this high, about nearly a foot high, and I massively regret that, because I think they don't need to be as high as that, and you got to fill them as well. I was lucky; I was moving from my old plot up to my new plot, so they were all raised beds down there anyway, so I had all the soil to bring that. But yeah, so don't.
You can just use anything. Like I've used our old gate. Like I use that to. Well, I say
What, to fill the raised bed?
No, to make it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not that deep, like the fence things. And I'm saying this as if it was me that did it. Obviously, it wasn't me that made the raised bed, but you can use like pretty much anything. So
yeah. When I first started the grapevine garden, I did put a lot of raised beds in, and I think I've got a picture here somewhere. Maybe. And I remember putting them in, and I was quite lucky. People would think, oh my God, they must have cost a fortune. Wood is really, really expensive, really, really expensive. Yeah. But these were from the salvage yard, and I think I paid, about £6 a length, and they're quite thick. It's a shame JB's not stayed on a bit now, because he's actually doing his a little bit now. And I don't know where Freddie's gone. But yeah, I would just think, try salvage yards, try and look on the marketplace and things like that.
A few pallet collars, and you can just get them from builders merchants. They actually just give them away, because they're just what the pallets are in. So we've got maybe 6 of those.
Of the pallet collars, or?
Yeah, of the pallet collars, and they're just given away free. And they're literally, you just unfold them, put them down, and that is your bed. You just have to fill it. So
that's what we've got. That's what we've got. But sadly, all the builders merchants around by us have cottoned on to the fact that we're using them. So there are £5 each. So
that's still not
bad. I think that's not so bad.
It's all right, because we've got them. They're either 2 or 3 deep. And then as time goes by, if we need to, we'll add another one on.
Yeah.
Probably there are. Do you line yours, Gemma? Because half of ours are like, right,
no.
Okay. Someone said, promise me you won't line them after I'd lined 3 of them. And I've been humming and hawing whether
I've seen people lining them thinking that the water won't go into them, but I think they're out in the elements anyway. My issue is always with them is, you've got that layer in between. Hi, Freddie. You've got that layer in between the plastic and the wood sometimes, and that's a lovely little area for little baby slugs to live in there. And things as well. Actually. So I always think, do you know what I mean? Just sometimes the best ideas can sometimes be the worst. So
there's a question here from Jean Holdstock. Is there any way to get rid of a dodder? What's that?
Don't know. I don't know.
Rid of dodder.
Now, Jean, are you coming from Bulgaria? I think I saw you saying hello before. So is this something? Is it a different?
Oh, it says it's a plant.
Oh, is this a weed? It's a sort of weed?
Yeah.
Wow.
Must be a weed.
It says it's yellow, orange, or red parasitic plants.
Ah, okay.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of it.
It looks really weird. Yeah.
Right. Let's see.
We're really sorry. We're not sure because we're lucky enough we haven't got that, but we're not sure if we even get that in the UK.
I've not seen it, but I don't know if that's going to do any good at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what I can see, Jane. It looks like
weird.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we get that here, if you comment below whether or not.
I've never seen it.
Thank goodness. It looks like silly string. Yeah, it does.
String-like tentacles.
Oh no.
Why is my compost pile not generating heat? We have been adding to it since January. Layers of brown and greens, but is it warm?
That's it.
The Arctic in there. Thank you, Rach. I don't know. I do not know, Rachel. I have no idea why. If you've been adding greens and browns, have you been? Like it has got to reach heat and then cool down anyway. So it's never going to stay.
Well, you could
forever.
Put stuff like slugs in it, put worms in it, put anything you find.
I'm not putting a slug in my compost.
You can.
Maybe.
I'm not doing it though, Jane.
Put compost on it. Just put compost in it. Even if it's really tough,
Tony can answer that question.
Stuff like that. Yeah, get Tony.
But I'm never adding a slug or any other bugs. Worms can go in there, that's fine. But I'm not putting. We're pretty much saying we don't want slugs on our plot. We're like, here's a nice warm hotel for the winter. You enjoy in there, you breathe, and then let me tell you what, in spring, pop back out and you can eat all the brassicas. No, I'm not doing it.
I'm wondering if it's wet enough. Is there any
moisture in that's the thing. Sometimes people cover them all over and then they forget that it does need moisture as well.
Oh, it says here, Tony said, because you have been adding to it, you do not have enough volume. You need to store your ingredients, then make a load. The volume is that might be it. Maybe not adding to.
There we are. So just pile it on first. So why should I put a netted cage around my tomato plants? I am aware to have a greenhouse or polytunnel. Should I put a netted cage around my tomato plants? I am able to have a greenhouse or polytunnel. I'm guessing you're growing tomatoes now, so I'm guessing that you're on the other side of the world now to us. So if that's the only options you've got, then I would say yes.
Really, what's the point?
I think
what's the point of it?
If you haven't got a greenhouse or a polytunnel, grow outdoor tomatoes.
Is it to make it more?
But the thing is that we forget as well is that in like America and all, they do have a lot more pests for their tomatoes, don't they? God, they have so many things. So I would say I would say yes. I would say if you feel anything can benefit it, then yes. We'll move on now to the topic I want to talk about. It's like, why did we start our channels and why did we start our allotment? So we'll start with Freddie. Come on, Freddie. What made you think, let's start the allotment? And we'll
start about the allotment.
The channel.
I remember it. It was the last day of school until we hit our first lockdown. And while I was at school, Mum and Dad weren't at work. So they went to B&Q. They came home with one of them flimsy greenhouses. Bunch of seeds, bunch of compost, and I started in the garden, and then that's when I put my name on the waiting list, and it took about a year. I sent you a picture about what the allotment first looked like, Danny. You might want to put that up. And we started digging that, and we got to.
Go on, Danny.
We got to
Freddie, I hope I got this picture now.
Yeah, we sort of gave up, and we left it for a couple of months, and we waited for the winter, which is then when we put the beds in. And then I thought to myself,
no, this might be it. No.
Sprouts.
No.
Freddie, it's you somewhere. But yeah, I remember you nobody is more encouraging than your mum and dad, though, right, Freddie? Like, Jane, you've met them, haven't you? And Ben, honestly, they are the most encouraging parents, and fair play. There you go. That's the picture.
Thanks, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Quite similar, actually. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's
and like I will say, like where I met Freddie's parents, and God, they cannot do enough to encourage Freddie with his channel, with his allotment. So fair play to him. That you are really lucky, Freddie, your parents who will fund your hobby as well and look after you, and you and they do they do well for you, don't they? Like, you do well. What made you think about having a channel, though, Freddie?
I think it's just be cool to have people to follow me and like me, and yeah, you know, and then like then I'm stuck with it now. It's all fun and games. So yeah.
Jane's been doing it, honestly. Jesus opened her allotment for Jane.
I've been doing it that long.
You've been doing it that long. What about you, Jane? What made you start?
I was actually doing. I've always gardened. It's always just been something I do. But I was doing a blog. I got into writing a blog about various other things that I did, which would include crafts and walks and nature and things like that, you know. And I remember one day someone else I followed did what's it called? Is it a podcast? What's it called when someone just talks to camera and shows things?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah. They were doing that. And I thought, hey, I could do that. And then I looked around and thought, but you know, it was summer or spring, summer. And I thought, actually, it'd be really nice to do it on the allotment. We just got our first allotment. And I thought, oh, this is how I'm going to document it. And it was as a diary, because it was years and years and years ago, before really there were many people on YouTube doing gardening. Tony was one of them. Nigel, Terry, they were there.
God, the relics.
Sean. All of his old dinosaurs. We were all there sort of at the beginning. And I thought I'd just give it a go. And like you said, Freddie, you sort of realise the first couple of things, the camera was shocking, the sound was shocking, and you get into it, you think, I want to improve that, I want to do this. And before you know it, you're doing it regularly, and as soon as you start getting that back and forth, it's just lovely.
It is intoxicating, isn't it? You know, it's such a nice thing to I think everyone pretty much knows my origin story with Malcolm Kingswell. Like, I just posted a picture on Instagram, and it was just my original plot. It wasn't even the Grapevine Garden. And then I don't even know how it happened, but he just invited me to come up and see his plot. And I never had I remember turning up there in a white t-shirt and white joggers, and I glowed. The sun was on me, and I remember one of his videos, I'm in there and he's interviewing me. And that's my claim to fame, that I'm the only YouTuber to ever go to Malcolm Kingswell's plot, and he's the only one to come to mind. Oh no, Tony's come to mind now. But but he was the one who said, like, you should start a channel, it's really, really good. And I just said, I don't know, like, and it's that thing, you know, remember when you first put the camera on and you're like rigid and you're like, it's so uncomfortable. But I keep that video up, the first video that I ever did. Go and watch it. And I was there, and the irony of it was, I'm sat there with a spade holding it between my legs, telling them that I'm going to be doing no dig with a spade. And
the other day, actually.
Oh, thanks, Freddie. You should have watched that a long time ago for inspiration. You said I inspired you, Freddie. That was the answer I wanted for the question when I said, what made you start YouTube? You told me, you gaslighted me. You told me that you started because you liked my channel. He lied to me, did you not?
Steve is being very cheeky.
Oh, Steve's always cheeky. But I like the fact that people will watch another channel, and then you always get shocked, don't you, when one person starts a channel because of another channel and it snowballs. I remember, like, Jane Kelly's one of the reasons really that I started YouTube was Jane and Muddy Boots and Tony C. Smith. They were the three that really started and then I started clicking on how-to videos and stuff, and then Tony O'Neill come up, and that it snowballs, and you start having regulars you watch, and mine was the same through lockdown. Gemma, go on. Why did you start YouTube?
I think it was actually just because I was watching when I first got I put my name on the list, and I was like, you start looking on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's just, I don't know, there was just something about it. I thought I could do that because, I didn't know I'd get it so quickly. But when my name came up and I got my plot, I just started filming that day from when I picked up the key, and it just went from there. But there wasn't a specific reason. I think it was just seeing, like you just said, seeing everyone else. And
Gemma, you also told me that you started your YouTube channel.
Well, I'm saying it was everyone, because I remember I watched you. I remember seeing Jane, because I used to like having a nose around Jane's. I used to think, I don't know, like, because it's like the way, like you like people's channels for certain things, and I think James is always nice to like look at everything, and you're like looking in the background, looking at stuff. Like Danny's waiting to see what I'm going to say about him. It is like you get different things from different people, don't you? You like things.
And Jane, what's that thing I always say about YouTubers?
What, the bit about running away from the camera and then walking up to it and then having to run away again?
I always say there's room on YouTube for everyone.
For everyone.
And I say that all the time. So whenever a channel comes on and they don't fit the mold, or they do something a bit different, I generally do believe that YouTube is for everyone. And I think if we all did it the same way, it'd be boring. And I like the fact that I do it differently and someone else did it. And I remember being told that don't watch YouTube videos before you record, the day you're going to record, because it's in your head. And I've watched YouTube. That's why I joked last week about Will, because he watched my video and then he went to the plot and then he said what I said. And it's just because it's subconscious in your mind. And that's what happens. And I think sometimes you can watch a video and then you think, and then when you get it to do what you're going to do, you'll repeat it because you think that's what you're going to do, and rather than doing your style. And I just like the fact that we should all be different on YouTube. And if anyone's thinking about doing a YouTube channel, they should do it. But remember,
if you are going to do it like Danny, Gemma, and Freddie.
No, do it like Jane.
They know how to do it properly. Yeah. But it's
I don't.
But it is hard. Someone put is it Steve put a message up before saying he's thinking of starting a channel, but the editing's putting him off. And I think
don't talk to me about the editing.
Well,
no.
I actually really enjoy it now. It's the filming. I find it, well, it's you mentioned before as well, actually, Freddie. It's a case of you go up to do something, and if you're going to be filming as well, it's not just that it takes twice as long, it could be 3-4 times as long, and then there's the editing, and then there's always something you've forgotten, like Freddie putting your microphone on. We've all done that, and it's this has arrived, that's kind. But yeah, you're just saying again, a lot of experience. Do it. Just sit there, go through what you want to do, don't
always listen to everyone's advice either. Use your own. I remember, like, Jane was the person who messaged me, bless her, and said, "Danny, you need to get a mic," and you can battle on as much as you want without a mic, and you can, and it does sometimes. You do get a little bit knocked sometimes when someone will comment on something like, "Oh, why have you done that?" or "Why have you done this?" or "Why are you plugging a pair of gloves?" And you think, if like the amount of equipment involved for YouTubing can be insane. You can go up and up and up, and I'm always blown to mind. My mind's always blown by Tony O'Neill, the amount of money he will spend and invest in his channel. And I mean, but I always think that way. He told me that way, that every penny you put in, it'll be a beneficial to the channel. And I agree with that. I really do agree with it. But I just think sometimes I think you don't need those things, but they do improve your channel.
I think the most important thing, as far as I look at when I'm watching a channel, is if someone's genuine.
Yeah.
If it seems that someone's uncomfortable, and obviously when you start off, we've all been a bit funky and everything. But if you're really enjoying what you're doing and you're really excited about sharing that with other people, that comes through. And, you know, the best editing, the worst editing, that will shine through. You know, the editing comes later. We can learn that, and you can do as much.
I don't enjoy the editing. That's the one thing I don't enjoy.
Really? I do now. I really do it.
That's my favorite. I love gardening, but it's like Gemma. I edited one of your videos, and I've nagged Jane as well. Freddie, I'd edit your videos. You send me your clips over, Freddie, and I'll edit one of your videos for you. Anything.
Take them up on it.
Jane, I love it, don't I? I love all the creative parts of doing and editing a video and stuff, and that's one of my favorite. The gardening and the filming, I really enjoy. And then when I come back and I edit, I love that. Cutting it all up and putting it all together, making a nice little story of it is one of my favorite things. Emma, wrong one. Emma said, Danny, I always loved your wellies walk at the plot. So did I. But the thing is, and this is a little tip for anyone, I know viewers who aren't YouTubers won't, but one of my tips that I was taught as well is that when you do a start of your YouTube channel and it's like an intro and stuff, people do get bored of that, sadly. And mine, I used to love mine, that little walk up the plot and stuff in my wellies and things. And it was not actually Niall Gardens. He said to me, you need to cut it all out because you've been going so long now, people will skip it. And they do. Yeah. And that's believe it or not,
used to happen to me.
My loyal viewers will watch all the way through. And people don't realize that. People won't watch the videos, and there is a thing called the hook on there, and people will skip that. And it's a bit like what we do with like EastEnders and things like that. At the start of it, you'll be like, "Oh, I'll go make a cup of tea now," because that's that's the boring part. So do it for a bit, and then sadly you got to cut it all out. But Emma said, "I'm here because of Malcolm." Yeah, Malcolm sent me over some lovely viewers and stuff, and fair play, they've stayed. So I'm always grateful, but that's the one thing but people don't realize how much work goes into YouTube. And imagine being a gardener, which you all are because you watch our channels. But on top of that, we have to film it and make sure we film it right with the camera, with the lighting right, without the sun, without people behind us talking, without all these things, and making sure that you say the right thing and film it. And then we have to take it all the way home. Our job of gardening is not even 10 times longer, it's 100 times longer, isn't it, Jane? Just to do one little job.
But also, and I love it, otherwise I wouldn't still be here, but also it's not always for any particular reward. You never quite know how a video is going to be received. It can be something you've put your heart and soul into, and you think, yeah, I'm really pleased with that one, and you press upload and and it can flatline. And yet you'll do something you might just have filmed off the cuff and it'll go. And Tony, you taught me a lot about the algorithm. It's a minefield. And Steve's just put on there, you mentioned the hook, Danny. You've got that 30 seconds at the beginning of your video that YouTube will measure if the amount of people that will turn off within 30 seconds.
And they're not classed as views.
No. They're not classed, and YouTube just sees that you've lost that percentage of your audience, so they're not necessarily going to rate your video, So there's so many different things. It is a minefield, or is it a rabbit warren?
But I will point out though that you don't need to. I think this day and age, it's not like it was 10 years ago, Jane. You can have a YouTube channel by just using a phone. You can. The quality is the winter. So Freddie, you used a phone for a long time, didn't you? And Gemma, you did, don't you?
I use a phone.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry, you do.
Go look at Jessie at plot 37. She does it on the phone, isn't it, for the past 3 years, and look what she's got: 20,000 subscribers.
But the only issue is that you can't talk on your plot when it's really windy. That's why Jessie, I'm guessing that's why she does a lot of voiceover and stuff. It's because wind is a nightmare. You're in a plot in the winter. And I tried it. My plots, Tony O'Neill could never, ever just film on a phone. Like, I'm sure he did in the past, but now, the amount of wind that he gets up there and stuff, Tony has a lot. Tony has a lot of wind.
Thing is, what's good on the mic with mine is that I've got many motorways behind me, because there's always a bit of a buzz in the back of mine you might hear. And there's always helicopters following the motorways, and it's a right nightmare with planes and stuff, because they're coming in for landing, going into Gatwick Airport, so they're quite low. Yeah.
So do you live in Gatwick, Freddie?
Yeah, we can't talk about where Freddie lives, Gemma.
I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying because you said about the planes going to Gatwick, so you must be quite near if you can see.
Don't be specific, though, Freddie.
I'm not being specific.
Gemma, he's 12.
Sorry.
Sort of 40 minutes away from Gatwick, but they do start to night.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean Kent and that.
Yeah. We don't suffer with that problem where I live. Like I haven't got that many planes coming over. I mean, there isn't any. But I just think just do your best. You don't have to have all the gear because you could buy all that gear and then you could end up not liking it and not enjoying it, and then you've wasted all that money. So my advice would be I'd say for the first year of YouTube, just do your best. And but if you are really, really dedicated and you really from the go think I really want to do this, then and you've got the funds there, then invest in a camera and a microphone.
So expensive, though. It is expensive.
So expensive.
Yeah.
It is. My heart used to break because Freddie would text me saying, "Oh, should I get? What should I get for this?" And he'd be like, "Which one should I pick?" And I'd be searching the internet for ages trying to get the good deals. But it's like Freddie. It's like a kick in the teeth, isn't it? When you see the prices, you think, "Oh." But we all do it for the love of gardening, though.
Our allotment plots has just said, have all the gear and then don't press record. I don't know about you lot, but I've done that.
Now, funny enough, oh God, I've done that as well. I've recorded and then gone home and thought, oh God, there's no sound. I actually had a Christmas video. Remember last year, Jane, and I filmed all this beautiful scenes, and it was the log burn was going, and I got home and there was nothing on the SD card, and I was like, I was really looking forward to that video, but
it's horrible.
And it happens to Jane doing it a lot.
It does.
The question on the screen here: how long did it take for you to press record? Well, from summer 22 last year, I was actually. From autumn onwards, I was actually planning to put my first video up on the 1st of Jan, and I did. And I wish I started later because I waited. I held out for the 1st of Jan to put my first video up, but I wish I started then.
Yeah.
But you just go what with you. Whatever you do. I've got a friend, and I used to go running, and not a great runner, but I was doing one of these training to do a 5K type thing. And I'd say to him, I just don't feel like. He said, come on, Jane, you're a winner. Come on. I said, you know what? I just don't feel like a winner. And he said, the best thing you can do, the best way to, oh, crikey, this is typical me. The best way to feel like a winner, you're a winner when you get up, you go to your front door and you put your trainers on. At that point, you have committed to something. And even if you run the slowest you've ever run or whatever, you're doing your best thing. And that was supposed to be an analogy about gardening, but it hasn't worked. But you're never going to know. You're never going to know, are you? Unless you give it a go.
I think my advice would be to film yourself with the intention of not putting that video out. Film yourself, watch it back and think, would I watch this? Yeah. And sometimes it's a bit scary because some people say yes and it should be no. But I think sometimes, and I was one of them people, when I look back at my first video, I think, God, why did I put that out? I remember putting elephant cartoons on the front when I was planting elephant garden. Remember that, Freddie? But I look back now and we all grow as gardeners, just the same as YouTubers, and you get better and better. But we'll end it on this with the fact that we'll say, if you want to start a YouTube channel, definitely do it, because we all have a little grumble about it now and again, because we all go out there when it's raining and we all go out there when it's horrible, and nobody here and people watching haven't said, I don't want to go there today, but I have to. And I think sometimes God, if
life's too short.
Life's too short, and your life needs to always come first at the end of the day. But my advice, the biggest advice I'd say, and I don't know if you all agree, is when you watch our videos, anyone's videos on YouTube, comment and like. You really don't understand by just watching.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant. But the like and commenting, really, you wouldn't want any of us to disappear. So do those things. Just make that little bit of effort. Just even if you just write on their fab video, it really does boost us to YouTube. It tells YouTube that that they're liking the video, because you might have walked away from one of my videos and thought, oh, I really enjoyed that. But apart from the watch, it hasn't told YouTube that. And, you know, nobody needs to be sending money really, and nobody needs to be doing those things, because there's nothing better than someone just saying, we like your video. And I remember seeing Malcolm Kingswell's last ever video, and the hundreds of people saying, I've watched your channel for years and I've never commented. And I'm sure that nobody is malice who watches your videos. They really like their videos. But that little comment really does push channels and makes them stay, really, because they grow and grow and grow. I'm not saying Malcolm left because of that, but there was literally a tenfold.
When you like, you get that comment and you do, like, we all know. Sorry,
you love well, like we all do.
Yeah, they're like the best part of it.
Gemma, you know? Gemma likes them that much. She reads all mine, don't you, Gemma? Like she goes to my video and she reads all the comments because she enjoys them so much.
I just think it's so nice, because I think that's how if you think, I didn't know Danny before I started YouTube, and I didn't know.
I would never have been friends with Jane Kelly and Freddie and Gemma and all the others. It just wouldn't have happened.
I didn't know Will, and I speak to Will and Danny every day now. So you know,
Locke. Thank you so much, Locke.
Locke. Get over to my channel, please. Get over to my channel.
No, Locke, you stick with me, kid. You'll go far.
Oh dear.
Honestly, I'm always so blessed on it. I really am.
Yeah. The Veg Plot Thickens have said it's hard to comment if you view on the TV, but at least now we can click like.
Yeah.
And that's still better than that. That's still, honestly, we're not begging. Nobody's begging on that. But if you love a YouTube channel, Jane's begging. But if you love a YouTube channel, even if you're just on your remote control on your telly, I'm so Welsh, and I just click that little thumbs up, because it honestly, you don't realize how much that really, really does help a channel. It really.
And Ali's right. She's saying it's a community. It is a community. It's so true. It's so nice, and like, we all sort of, like, each other, and like, just that little comment and that little, it just means everything. It's so nice.
Yeah, it is. That's why we do it.
Yeah,
really.
I love the comments. I reply. I've said this millions of times before. I reply to every comment as if it was my first. Because I either think they've took their time out to not only sit watching my video, and another thing as well is, if you're watching our videos, try and watch all the way through, because you'd think, oh, I'll watch a bit later.
Even if you walk out the room, leave it on.
Even if you walk out the room, right, just make a cup of tea, leave us on. We'll give you some tips, right, to how you can help our channels and everyone else's channels on YouTube. Like, comment, and also watch it all the way through, because by just switching off, it drops the statistics and we don't get shared to other people as well. And not just our channels, that's to everyone on YouTube. Try it, and because we live in a culture now where you flip through your phone and you look at videos for like 2 or 3 seconds and then you're on to the next. But it really does damage those channels that you really like. And watching a bit later, don't watch my video at all until you want to watch it all, because if it drops, even in that time, and don't get me wrong, if you don't want to watch the video all the way through, you haven't got to. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But those little things, and rewatching bits is really good as well if you want to just scroll back a bit and watch. But the thing is, people don't know these things, do they, Jane? They don't know that by watching our channels and doing these things, they can be damaging the channels that they really love. But
we all have times behind the scenes where we just think, what am I doing? Why do I even do it? You know, and this is what keeps it going. So the comments
are the thing that keeps me going sometimes. Kind of think, and I've done this. So I put out videos where I have not even thought about. I never even thought that was a good video. I've edited it and thought that was okay, and then that's the video that everyone will watch. I mean, you've noticed this. Sometimes you'll think, what was it with that video, and you'll watch back through and stuff, and you can't work out why it's happened. And
so thumbs up, everyone. Let's give Danny thumbs up. He hasn't got enough money, so we'll give him some thumbs up.
I haven't got enough money at all. That's
you work very hard. I know you do.
Thanks, Jane.
But you do on the whole community side and everything you do, Danny, and you deserve it.
I have always been a big advocate, and I will always say that for the smaller channels and the bigger channels, because I think it's a shame sometimes when a channel will just be focusing on themselves all the time. And that's okay if they want to do that. But I've always found personally myself, the strength from my channel has come from the viewers, the comments, and the other YouTube channels that will push me on. There's times where I've texted Jane and Tony and other people and said, I've said, like, why am I doing? And you wouldn't believe it. The people behind the camera would be thinking that something, but we all push each other through, and like Jane will say to me something like, I'm having a really down week and stuff. And then you just push each other through. And that's that kind. And Tony is right. Community is everything. Oh, another comment come through. Community is everything. You should always try to help other channels. And Tony does that as well. Like, everyone should help each other. And like, that's why I always try and show other new channels. I don't just think, well, and it probably was, they go to watch their channel sometimes, might not come back to mine, but I think if that's what happens, then they found the channel that they like, then that's fine. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I think we'll go off YouTube now a bit because we got like the last couple of minutes. I want to also say thank you to the moderators tonight, Emma, Will, and Linda. They've all got channels. I'll put the links all in the description after this live as well, so you can have a look. So moderators, you can put all the links now to Freddie's, Gemma's, your own channels if you want. Put them all on there. And yeah, but I agree. We all should help each other. What are you all planning now? So I need to quickly say as well, before we end the live, that there is loads more YouTubers coming on to the channel, and like more than I thought. I honestly, more than I thought. I'm shocked how many have said yes. And so if you want to watch every Thursday, it's mainly going to be 7:00 every Thursday. Keep an eye on the community page. I will be updating that, and also on Instagram. But come along and all, because there's also there's going to be a Christmas special one as well on December the 21st. There's going to be loads on that one, I think. Yeah. There's quite a few. I can only have a certain amount of people on a live at one time, but...
What's the maximum then?
It depends how much the package that you pay for as well. Because I pay for that. I actually pay for this. So when people say like, oh, I know Jay was joking about the money and stuff, but that money pays for these things. So like this costs me about £20 a month to pay for just for this program. And it all adds up, my music and everything else. So it all adds up, and everything they said, I think, oh God, at least I can pay those bills and that's all sorted. But I think there's going to be about maybe 8 on there at Christmas time, but there's some really good names on there. So yeah, but thank you so much to all the YouTubers who are going to come on to it as well, because I'm sure we'll have fun, and let's just get through winter together and we can have a good chat and stuff as well. I have asked Ali at my Rusty Garden to come on as well, but she's still saying she don't know.
Go on, Ali.
We'll get Ali on.
We'll get you. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll wrap it up, shall we? So thank you so much, everyone, for coming today, and we'll all see you all again next week.
Thanks.